Today, Bitcoin touches its highest level since April as crypto investors get more optimistic about the U.S. election. And with a week until Election Day, we talked to Coinbase's Paul Grewal about efforts to court crypto voters. Welcome to CNBC's Crypto World. I'm Mackenzie Sigalos. Bitcoin riding high this morning as the cryptocurrency crosses $72,000 for the first time since April. Now, by noon Eastern, Bitcoin rose 5.8%, while Ether gained nearly 6%, hitting $2,600. Solana also jumping a more modest 4.2%, but hit $180. At the same time as the crypto rally, crypto stocks are also riding the wave of optimism, with MicroStrategy, Coinbase, and Riot all trending higher this morning. Grayscale Investments' Zach Pandel told CNBC this morning that many things are going right for crypto, such as a soft landing for the economy, rate cuts, and positive regulatory changes, regardless of who wins the U.S. election. Okay, let's talk about the top stories. Consensys, the crypto firm backing the Ethereum network and the maker of the DeFi wallet MetaMask, is cutting staff. The company put out a blog post this morning announcing a 20% cut to its staff, citing macroeconomic pressures and regulatory uncertainty. The SEC was of particular focus in the announcement, where CEO Joe Lubin called out what he says is abuse of power by the agency. He pointed to multiple legal challenges from the regulator, including a lawsuit involving Consensys itself, and he also pointed to Congress's, quote, inability to rectify the problem. Still, Lubin said the cuts to staff would shore up Consensys's financial stability, and the firm would continue its commitment to decentralization. All right, let's talk more about the SEC and crypto rulemaking for our main story. It's exactly 7 days until the 2024 U.S. presidential election, and crypto PACs are working in the final stretch to push voters to back pro-crypto candidates up and down the ballot and across the country. Stand with Crypto and Fairshake, two of the largest crypto interest groups, have funded candidates on both sides of the aisle in the hopes of filling Congress and the White House with politicians who will pass a crypto regulatory framework. I spoke to Paul Grewal, the chief legal officer of Coinbase, about these crypto interest groups' role in the election and where things stand with 7 days to go. Okay, so there are exactly 7 days to go until the election, and just this past weekend, you were in Ohio for a concert with the Black Keys, specifically as part of a Stand with Crypto, Get Out the Vote rally. Now, we've also seen Fairshake, another PAC that Coinbase has backed, pour millions of dollars into that Ohio Senate race. So, Paul, with a week to go, where do things stand in this Ohio race from the PAC's perspective, and what's the closing message as we head toward Election Day?
Well, Mackenzie, I think what we're seeing in Ohio, just like all across the country, is that the millions of Americans who have now owned cryptocurrencies, digital assets, are all saying one thing, which is they want to see crypto in their future, and they want to see legislation passed by the Senate and by the Congress as a whole to make that happen. Ohio has 1.3 million Americans who fall into that category, and I think that the candidates for office in that state, like candidates all across the country, need to pay attention if they want to get elected.
Now, there has been some criticism that, this is a lot of money to sway races for an issue that many Americans don't feel great about. A Pew Research poll came out just a few days ago that said, around 63% of Americans have little to no confidence that crypto is reliable or safe in its current form. How do you square those two issues when asking voters to vote for a pro-crypto candidate?
Well, I think what voters have made very clear is they want their candidates to be responsive to their issues. And what I think Fairshake and Stand with Crypto together have shown is that for a certain percentage of voters, crypto is on that list. Now, it may not be that millions of Americans are only going to vote on crypto in this upcoming election, but enough of them are going to consider each candidate's position on the FIT21 market structure bill, sensible rules for stablecoins, and so on and so forth in picking their candidates. And in swing states where elections can be decided by a handful of voters, candidates need to pay attention. And that's why we think this campaign has been so effective. And it's why Coinbase has been so proud to support it from the very beginning.
I also want to ask you about backing of candidates by party. Stand with Crypto and Fair Shake do support candidates on both sides of the aisle, but on the presidential side, it's clearly favored Donald Trump, as he's been pretty outspoken about his support for the industry. I know that Fair Shake has only been donating to congressional races, but in terms of where crypto PAC money is going. But Kamala Harris hasn't been super specific, but she has expressed support for digital assets recently. Does that change your calculus on support for the Harris campaign? And have you had any conversations with her team?
Well, we have had many conversations with the Harris team, just as we've had a number of conversations with the team supporting former President Trump. And what I think we're hearing from both campaigns is they get it. They understand that in swing state after swing state, there are enough voters who care about crypto that the candidate and their campaigns need to give voice to the concerns of those voters in supporting sensible rules for crypto, sensible legislation coming out of Congress. And that's very encouraging. It is absolutely the case that President Trump has been more explicit and perhaps came earlier to this pro-crypto view. But Vice President Harris has made a number of statements that recognize that an innovation agenda requires an agenda focused on promoting sensible rules for crypto as much as any other technology. So that's why, from our perspective, regardless of who wins in the presidential race, in terms of the candidates, crypto wins, because we've now gotten to the point where crypto is in the conversation and on the agenda of each candidate, which means we're going to see progress come January.
Now, just today, your CEO, Brian Armstrong, said that the next SEC chair even owes the American people an apology. Obviously, regulation could take a while, especially if we see changes in party power in both chambers of Congress. But is the SEC becoming the primary focus for what the next administration can do in the interim?
Well, I think the Securities and Exchange Commission should always and will continue to always play an important role in protecting American investors and promoting innovations when it comes to securities transactions. Unfortunately, this SEC has overreached and inserted itself into all sorts of transactions and, frankly, parts of the market that have nothing to do with securities at all. So I think in a new administration, it will be critical for a new chair of the SEC to recognize that this important innovation, this important technology is going to require cooperation and partnership, not lawsuits and litigation that stretches on and on for years and years. That's what we're focused on at Coinbase, and we're confident that with a new leader at the SEC, with new perspective coming from the White House, and a Congress that understands that its voters expect that it makes real progress on things like the FIT21 bill and stablecoin legislation, we're going to see a very different situation for crypto and prospects for crypto in very short order.
So what about Coinbase specifically? How are you feeling about the company's outlook next year, depending on who wins?
Well, for Coinbase, we are very optimistic as we head into the fall of 2024 and into a new year. And we're optimistic in part because we do see progress coming from the Congress and a new approach to cryptocurrency regulation by the SEC and by other agencies of the executive branch. But we're most optimistic because we see real progress in the technology underlying the products and services that we offer to our customers. And we really do see in the coming months and quarters and years a world where blockchain-based technologies with cryptocurrencies powering all sorts of new innovations that we think will improve not just the financial system, but our overall economy in ways that are going to be transformative. And we're eager to play our part in that. But regardless of the legislation and regulation that we think is long overdue and that will come from Congress and the agencies, it's the products, it's the services that are ultimately going to drive this industry forward. And we could not be more excited about that.
Okay, that's all for Crypto World today, but we'll be back again tomorrow, and we'll see you then.